Whoa, no, 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 no. How you be? Hairless me to the blue sea. It's me. We back. Nah, I'm just messing with y'all. What's going on, everybody? Chilling on Friday, man. We got that hot fire, man. Y'all know what time it is, man. You know what it is. Um, 10:16. Let's just get right into it. First off, you already know the deal with the thumbnail. Alright, cause for as long as I've been following this series, for whatever reason, I never pictured Zoro in a shinobi or a ninja costume. I have no idea why. I didn't think about it until this morning. Like, but he looks clean, and even that little the quote or whatever about spears in the attic, like that's been said before. And I don't remember if it was in Wano or maybe back in Rizo's introduction. I think Usopp said something like that. He was like hiding the ceiling and get stabbed by a spear. It was something like that. But I don't know. It's still clean though. He looks so clean, man. Let me not get hyped because this chapter's not about Zoro. But so to 16, man, let's get into it. First, you know, we hadn't seen the Fire Festival area in a while, and I'd be lying if I said I hadn't forgot about it because I have forgot about it. But we see our man, the big nose Tengu Yama, and with Toko, and they're basically just reflecting on Yasue's death, and oh, can he see the fires? Like, yeah, well, the sky's clear, and they're just like, you know, that just happened. Like, it's not like this is they're talking about 10 years ago. She just lost her pops, and the effect on smile fruits that they have on people, and the emotional connection, even back to your boy Killer. Your boy Killer. Um, and then the oppression of the people of Wano, what they've been dealing with the entire time they've been in the story. Just like most places, well, where they live is trash. Like the the or I should say the quality of life and how they're treated is trash. Like the land itself looks great. It just got industrialized and resourced out to other means that's not the people of Wano. So obviously there's going to be problems with that. And just thinking about that stuff, and I'm like wondering if there's going to be some symbolism, like when the fire dies out in the fire festival, what's going to be going on in Wano, good or bad. There probably will be like some kind of connection between the two, right? Because while they're partying it up and celebrating the dead and things of that nature, we know what's really going down. People is getting clapped, slapped, and body bagged, and slept, and cut up, and thunderbolted, and just mayhem. So the contrast between the two is cool, but at some point, all people are probably going to be, enduring the same thing. It's not like they don't know the horrors of Wano. They just don't know everything that's going on right now, and what's on the line, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. And Yasue, honestly, I remembered him more than I thought I would. And he was actually, he was whatever. He had that big old chromodome, Eli Manning helmet head, him and Orhochi, and who else got a noggin like that? Rizo. They got them Dream Team helmet heads. Them dudes, man. Man, you can't go to the movies with them ever. It had everybody mad. And this fool Rizo wear like a 10 in a hat. Anyway, yeah, they was just basically reflecting on that stuff and just giving you a tone of the environment in comparison. And then we see it, that rock in the sky. And I'm not talking about Dwayne Johnson. It's Onigashima. And for me personally, you know, the obvious Zoro bias here. But every time I see Onigashima, man, only one thing comes to mind, man. The word dodge. Big Mama was like, Kaido Sama Dodge. That boy Zorro, boy, he's good. OTK, boy. But yeah, we see a little like a back page of that, and then we get to the Derby hat Cipher Pola Age Zero. You know, the Derby hat guy who ain't got no name. Um, is basically with the the gaming board, which to even bring up Kaido brings up at the end about protecting your pieces. Now I assume it's obvious, done this way for a reason. But when they were talking about the forces, right, 20,000 to 7,000, that's about 3 to 1 odds, pretty close, like 33% ratio, somewhere in that neighborhood, right? Well, their representation on the board is in the shape of a cross. And then, of course, this chapter, the tone of these chapters, these setup chapters lately, since Luffy got, clapped by my boy Mr. One, and you're done, son. Um, Hope, right? With Momonosuke having hope and being able to use the voice of all things, which, man, that's going to be interesting. Having Viola's the closest I think that we've seen to characters having quote unquote psychic abilities of any kind. So that's going to be crazy. Like we had the thing, like I brought up before with Roger and Odin, but that had more to do with the well tree and not them communicating with one another. This is something on a just it's crazy. So yeah, just communicating that, and then the hope of Luffy still saying somehow that he's gonna win, and Kaido isn't. It's something that Kaido would believe, right? Not that Luffy would win, but he'd be able to do this because even the first time he knocked him out, the first thing he brought up was like, "Why is he still glaring at me like that?" And he's still using conquerors, and Kaido just can't break his will, right? And that's his thing, right? Whether he's into it or not, that's just how he goes about gaining his forces is by will breaking. You know, with the exception of Orochi. He didn't have to break his will because he's Orochi, so it didn't really take any of that. But for the most part, this is just with these stronger characters that he wants to work with him. That's been his method, and it just doesn't work with the Supernova because they barely even like each other. They're not gonna work with they're not gonna work with no Yonko, except for Basil Hawkins, somebody like that. But for the most part, most of the Supernova want the same thing. They want the ultimate freedom. Maybe not Capone because runs a different type of business, if you know what I mean. But the rest of them just want to be free. Even Julie Bond, her focus seems to more be on freedom, even to the point where you see where she's at now, like worried about Kuma because Kuma doesn't have freedom. So, that trend in the series where all the characters are living in a trash world because none of them are free. Well, now you got an 8-year-old who the weight of an entire nation, in a sense, and time, right? Because there's no more Kozukis. He's the last of him. So a lot of things are weighing on his shoulders, and for an 8-year-old, I think he's handling it pretty well. You know what I mean? He's crying and stuff, but come on, man, it's grown men who can't deal with that. Like, and he's the son of Chad In, so he's allowed to cry. He'll be all right. But just thinking about that, right, and then the portrayal of hope and how important that is to even the beginning of the chapter with Toko, and what the future of Wano will be, and thinking about her pops, who she watched got murked. Like she seen it, like she was right there. She knows what time it is. Like, you know what I mean. And then even Otama, when she was sick, like Otama could have died chapters ago. You know what I mean? We knew it was gonna happen, but she could have. So these kids who are bearing a lot of, they're doing their part. They're not just like standing by and just watching all this bad stuff happening. They're just putting their life on the line for everything because they just believe in the future, which is pretty common with young people, and you got to have that, right? Well, that's the same thing that they represent. Is the same thing Yamato represents. Like we see at the end of the chapter. I know I'm kind of jumping around, but these themes it's the same theme, so it's pretty important. So like Oda is showing you the consistency of what these characters want is really the same thing. They just have to be able to go about it in their own way because of their limitations or their knowledge or experience. In this case, with kids being involved and whatnot, and even Yamato, who's technically a kid, in terms of Kaido, literally speaking. So what they represent is the same thing as Yamato, which Kaido has a problem with because he can't break that, right? He physically chained her the same way that, top five dead or alive Judge Vince Smoke would do to Sanji, right? And it didn't change them. They still want what they want. And with Yamato wants freedom and doesn't want to rule Wano. And the goal of driving Kaido away from Wano, I'm not sure what the point of that would be because what would just stop him from coming back. So then, like, if you're Yamato and you drive Kaido away from Wano, it has to be either into the hands of the government or you plan on finding a way to kill him, which I'm pretty sure she knows she can't do. Like I was telling y'all before, Yamato is strong, but this is, come on, man. This is, oh, no, 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 no. One clap Kaido, man. Say it with me, because it's one, and then you're done, son. Daughter, in this case, but she catch the smoke too. She already know what it is. She's like, no, 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 no. I know I can't beat you. I'm glad you understand that. But I like this because it doesn't make Yamato too strong to be on the crew, but it's scary because she made a statement that looks like, hey, the tragedy of Wano might be the death of Yamato. You know, um, it would be interesting because Kaido would go that far. I don't think he would personally, but to show like he would go that far by having to kill her, it would take away a crew member for us. It would make Kaido a lot more hated. It would change the tone of the series in a lot of ways. Whether that's good or bad or not, I don't know. I'm not saying it's just an idea that I had that would be the thing that make this crazy. If like Luffy gets there and Yamato is actually dead, like for real, not Oda dead, like dead. But why he wants Yamato to rule Wano is, I'm assuming, linked to the fact that he knows Wano is special. Now we know about the Poneglyphs and the Kozuki clan, and the other five clans that they never talk about. Shimosuke obviously being of importance that hasn't showed up yet. We already dealt with the Kurazumi through Orochi. You know what I mean? And there was the other three that I don't remember. I think Izo's family. No, because their parents got executed. They couldn't have been important. Maybe we haven't had any representatives from the other families. Oh, I'll have to go back and look at that. Maybe I don't know. But anyway, the other part about Wano being special, I think I'm gonna get to the other stuff, but I think this is important. Its physical location. That we know that as natural defenses, and that's probably not an accident, right? And then the situation with God's Valley that we don't know where it is, if it still is this a vanishing island kind of deal? We know the weather in the New World could be weird. Maybe there's some type of weird triangulation that has to occur on the various maps throughout the entire series that I've already looked at hundreds of times since this chapter has came out about the God's Valley incident. Was it 957 or 956? There's plenty of different maps where you have open space for that type of thing to occur. And I'm only entertaining the idea of it to that degree is because one, in his lobby, which there's a couple of places on planet Earth that are similar to Ennis Lobby. That circular waterfall thing, that's a real natural, I don't want to call it natural phenomenon, but if you look it up, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the location of Marijuana. And I've brought this up before in a couple of videos when I talk about the New World, like specifically with Odin's map, why I had problems trying to figure out what was going on with it. It didn't make any sense because it was based on the New World. And at the time, I was looking at Old World maps. Even though we were in the New World already, in the manga itself, uh, there'd only been 2 or 3 chapters with maps of the New World on them, and one of them had to do with Brook. I had to like go back and find it. I was like, that's why the orientation didn't make no sense. I'm bringing this up because from the way it looks on Odin's map, in the New World, Wanda would be located along the like the northern border of the Grand Line. On what side of the planet, I couldn't tell you all that. I do know though, from what I remember, I think the One Piece world is like 5 times in size, or somewhere around that scaling. So the distance is crazy, but how easily some of these characters get to Wano, even with the crazy stuff going on, I just have to assume Wano has to be somewhere close to where normal places would be. It's just not a place you easily get to or can see. So the other portion of this is Mary Joie and his location. And what we got when we learned about this, this is something that I didn't really think about until we got the chapter about the empty throne, because they made a point to bring it up. First of all, Mary Joie is the biggest landmass in the series. Doesn't seem like it, but it is. And even if I brought this up before, if you go back to the Return to Reverie arc, where Garp and King Neptune and he's escorting Shirahoshi and the rest of them up the stairs of Mary Joie, they have these huge statues. There's 10 of them. Like a couple of them got shields, a couple of them got swords, and like a couple of them got like spears or something. But remember, Shirahoshi's about 40 meters high. I mean, 13 meters high, so that's like about 40 feet. So about 4 stories tall. That's how tall Shirahoshi is. And these things made her look like a speck on the page. So in comparison, just these statues on the stairway, just to get to Mary Joie, we ain't talking about Mary Joie. We're only talking about the stairs. Okay, these statues would have to be almost like 400 or 500 feet tall at the bare minimum. So not just the size of Mary Joie, meaning that it could survive like floods and stuff that other places probably can't. If you see where I'm going with this, Joy Boy did it. They really did a video on this, like I think 6 months ago, and one of the ideas that popped in my head was actually about that chapter. He didn't bring that up, but it was just something I remembered. The size when he was talking about he brought up something about a bridge and basically the shape of the world government logo and some other stuff, and the Sandwall Wolf Bridge and stuff like that. And for size scale, it makes sense when you think about how much bigger their world is. And um, the fact that they moved the Navy, the headquarters, right? Marine Ford is in front of Mary Joie, basically. So their barrier is the Grand Line on one end and the Marine headquarters on the other. Not to mention, this is a huge landmass, and you cannot. There's no way to just penetrate. Pause. The forces, the defense forces and natural barriers, are probably even better than Wano's, right? Not to mention the size of the land. And then here's the important part, which makes Kaido's statement about Wano being special. It might really be location based, and now we're going to get into some weird space stuff. I'm not, but maybe the series is. Remember the empty throne, what it looked like. Okay. The empty throne has a backfield and that's colored black, right? And then the whole Tenryubito, why they wear space helmets, and then they'll be on the moon, and there's actually space pirates, and the history of the Skypians and the Birkins and the Shandorians, and then the moon people, and blah, 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 right? Okay, well, remember the empty throne is a backfield with stars on it. Here's the important statement about this, the most important, that location to where the empty throne sits in position is on purpose. And it's like the way they said it in the viz or something, like it's the most center part of the world or something, like it has an actual purpose to it. And to contrast that, if Wano, if you're looking at it on a map, is in a straight line from there, that means its position is probably also important. And then this is where why Kaido is so hooked on. And then you think about the God's Valley Island incident and whatever is going on with that, its specific location is of importance. Not to mention, if you really get into the space stuff with how many moons there used to be, right, that revolve around the One Piece world from Clover's globes and stuff during the O'Haran incident. So Kaido's probably not capping right now about Wano being special. It's probably not just the Kozuki, not just the poneglyphs, and not just probably this, like the natural occurrence of sea stone, some of that stuff. Its physical location might mean something different when it comes to the ancient weapons. And physical location probably is of something important. And the fact that there's three of them, and usually when you have three things, unless they're in a straight line, they make a triangle, right? I mean, we've all played Zelda, so I know it's a little crazy out there, but position in relation to where the empty throne is, like, seems to be very important. And then with the whole instant messenger Sama thing, that most of the Marines, if any of them know, besides Akainu or Kong or something, or Garp or Sengoku, right? With it, like, it's something very important, right? And it might be something that, like I said, the space thing, celestial dragons, Kaido being a dragon, all this weird extra stuff that they don't really talk about, like as a main focus in the series. But in the background of the series has been like foreshadowing something that's been coming, right? That we know is going to happen towards the end of the series. And we only get these few chapters when they talk about stuff like this. It's just that it came out of Kaido's mouth. He only made one statement, and I might be overanalyzing, all of that. But I just don't think so, because who's the one person, right? Somehow, with what we see from one clap, somehow he was able to be persuaded by Shanks not to go to Marineford. And then we see later that Shanks has some kind of connection to the world government, which we should always assumed was going to be the case to begin with. Because one, the Gorosayer, at the end of the day, the say so, like, I'd have to go back and show you the actual, like, the specific panel. But at least the way I took from what I read, the Gorosei have a say on who the Yonko actually are. And it's not something people talk about very often. Every now and again, I hear it brought up. But I just find it funny, like, how that whole system works in the first place, right? I'm not making any theories about, like, if the Yonko are this, that, or the third. I just find it interesting that they have relationships with the same people who put a bounty on their head, which don't make no sense to me, or it shouldn't make sense to anyone, especially when we see with, like, the power just that Judge Vinsmoke had. Like, and he's not even, the Germa aren't nothing, like, compared to the actual top powers in the globe. The rest of the world fear the Germa, but the Yonko, they don't care about the Germa. You see what Big Mom did. Like, the perspective is everything, right? Still, to 99% of that entire planet, the Germa are to be feared. Like, they have comics and all this other stuff, but they're just fleas on, like, an old dog as far as the Yonko or the world government is concerned. They're nobodies. So it's just interesting, right? The perspective on that. But I had thought about all that because I'm like, well, why would Kaido say that Wano's special? It can't be just because of, like, its physical location is that hard to get to, because it's really not. Like, people who know how to get there, so that's not stopping people from coming there. Like, people are afraid of Kaido, but his rivals aren't afraid of each other. Like, the Yonko don't fear each other. Like, that's not really how it works. You know what I'm saying? So his interest in this place, for a person who doesn't care about anything, he sure cares about this resource. So to me, it has to be more than, it has to be everything. It has to be worth everything. Because if he planned out Yamato's life from the beginning, Yamato was always to rule Wano. So that means whatever this is, he's known about for at least what, Yamato is like 26 or 28, somewhere in that age. So we know how far this goes back. Like, this is back in the Roger times, like, where he's thought about whatever this is. And if you think about, like I said, the God's Valley's incident, and Kaido has abandonment issues, right? He doesn't want Yamato to leave and be free, because maybe he never felt, maybe he doesn't, even with him being Kaido, there's some freedoms that he doesn't have, right? And his freedom might be death, and he can't have that. You know what I mean? So maybe that's his angle, but he's a trash parent because of what I was saying. What would I say about, like, his statement about Yamato? What makes you think you can leave? I'm going to just tell you something. I don't care what type of relationship you're in with somebody, parent, spouse, partner, whatever, the homie, anybody who says something like that or similar to it, that's like the reddest of flags you could ever see. Like that's some Diablo Jambe type stuff. Like that's how red that is. You need to get out of there because only an oppressive person would make a statement like that as if you don't have a choice. So to just like Kaido said, if you can't protect your pieces, and don't play this game if you can't protect your pieces. So even to Kaido, Yamato is a piece. Big Mom is a piece. Maybe a side piece, but she's still a piece. So to him, these are all just resources, and that makes it even worse to the point where Yamato doesn't have no problems picking up the mantle of a rival, right? Somebody who wanted you out of their land. I would rather be this person than you, right? So she's broken her chains, physical chains, right? And she's broken her emotional chains from this whole situation. She just wants to be free. But like I said, I'm kind of worried she might die. Like that would be the craziest twist that I could think of because we would see somebody like a Yonko do something like that. Not that they have like high standards, they kill people all the time, but killing your own, and not because they tried to usurp you, they just wanted freedom. That's a different type. That's something different. That's some. I'd expect that from Charlos. You know what I mean? Like that's wild. I don't know. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but that would be the craziest twist. That while Yamato is like, "Oh, I'm gonna hold Luffy off," Luffy get there and Yamato's actually dead, just clap like. And then Kaido gets mad, like, "Oh, even Yamato gets to die and I don't," and then he gets drunk or something. I don't know. Kaido's crazy. But yeah, a lot happened. A little bit happened, but my mind went a lot of places as far as like just those little statements, because y'all know how I be on them little statements. And now the Nami thing with Zeus. Oh boy. I didn't forget. Y'all forgot. You thought I forgot about Usopp getting his hair cracked, but he's still a rider though. My boy gonna have that arm in hockey one way or another. He ain't gonna have no choice. But yeah, the Nami thing. I'm still reserved, and I don't like the. I won't say I don't like the explanation. It's just not an explanation. It's coming from Zeus, who don't really know nothing, even though he knew. Right, Zeus knew Ulti was damaged on the inside, so I have to assume he's seen this Conqueror's clad attack before, and for how long they've been around, they've probably seen like how strong Big Mom really is, right? And then I think him saying that he can't leave without her powers. I don't know if that's him saying that like he can't die without, like it has to be by her ability, because we know they can't be damaged only by Brook or something weird, right? Something odd has to do with souls and frequency. But if that's the case, that really is a weird power up for Nami. And even Nami saying like, I didn't sign up for no annoying sentient weapon. I'm pretty sure Oda's aware of you know, how this whole Nami Zeus thing has been looked at. He's not dumb, right? These guys be on the internet too, so they know what time it is. Doesn't mean he won't do what he wants to do. I just, I'm gonna, I can't, I know I'm gonna hear some crying today. I ain't been online yet, but by the time y'all see this, I will have been, and there'll be some tears. I do like Zeus's final design though. When Ulti got clapped, which still should be fine. Them ancient Zoran regen is that's top notch right there. Like that's top notch recovery because that what Big Mom did, I thought she was gonna be out the arc. Like next time we saw her would have been a cover page or something. She still would have been asleep. But speaking of regen, I know I'm all over the place now, but I ain't gonna lie. When I saw Kaido, I was looking for Zoro's scar, man. Because even Kaido said, "Yeah, nah, man, you got me, bro." And I saw Odin's scar. I didn't see Zoro's, so I can't wait to see what it's gonna look like. Because he still gets scars. Regen don't mean you don't get them, right? But I want to see what it looks like, man. I gotta see it. The Legend of Zoro, man, it continues because we got the Onigashima. He out here killing political figures and stuff. Like and the deal with Sushui, Now you got Enma and let me stop, man. Yeah, I know how hard he get, but yeah, the closure between Yamato and Kaido, I'm very interested in how that works out, and then the hope of, we've seen Lost Submarine for the second time in the series save Luffy. We still don't know why Law saved him the first time or why he was there. Maybe it might have something to do with Shanks. I always assume it might have been Shanks related because remember when Shanks made sure Luffy got his straw hat. It was just like, okay, well, you trust him to take Luffy, so I guess we never really questioned it, since then. But this whole sword thing now, and maybe Law's apart, and Shanks talking to Gorosei, and it's getting wild. When I saw the Cypher Pole guy talking about the numbers of the odds changing, I started thinking about the whole Cypher Pole setup and all that. So that's kind of like how I ended up getting there. But yeah, um, I know we don't break. That sucks. But I'm very, I really want to see where this is going because we seen that lightning clash and that Black Lightning boy. That Black Lightning hit different, and Yamato hit different. I want to be on the crew because she's strong and she's at the strength where it doesn't look OP for what the crew is going to be dealing with for the rest of the series. But it's a chance that it's. I hope it's just me being over analytical and how my imagination can get. Because I'm like, if Kaido wanted to kill her, he would have did it a long time ago too. But maybe something different happens this time because he's been beating her forever, probably. But yeah, that's about it. I think we didn't really get nothing else in this chapter. We got Cipher Pole. We got Thomas' message with the Dango. That's what they're trying to get to. And while Huang's ability is still interesting to me, um, hopefully we get a better understanding if this is just a fruit ability or is this a mix of technology because it seems very technical. It seems like it could be a fruit, but it still seems like it could be, I don't know, them wanting Vegapunk and maybe the world government has done favors for Orochi before, like through some abilities and stuff, and like with Black Maria. And well, I mean, I know she belongs to Kaido in a way, but we just got a lot of crazy stuff going on. These trash smiles, and I'm gonna have to talk about that separately. But anyway, y'all be safe. Enjoy your weekend. I think I'm about to do some investigating and some rereading because I got some crazy ideas now. I'm thinking about what Kaido said about Wano being special and Shimosuke, of course, and things of that nature. And then the fact that Ryuma killed a dragon before. So that maybe this is. I know that parallel's been brought up before by many people, but maybe why Wano was special was the reason why Ryuma had to protect it in the first place and go as far as he did. So we'll see though. Y'all be safe, man. Have a cool weekend. Peace.